Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queen. So in today's tutorial I would love to show you how I made this beautiful evening dress. Okay, you can use it for anything. It will be a part for a party or for a birthday photo shoot. So I'm making this for my client and she's wearing it to a birthday. She's wearing for a friend birthday, I think so. So it's a white dress and it's gonna be a short one. So I would like to put you through. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please like, comment and share. Thank you. Alright, I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two. Okay, I don't know how I managed to lose the video I made for the process of drafting this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and explain all over again. Okay, so the length I'm using is 17, so I added my seam, which is around 1 inches, and I went ahead to rule the starting point. Okay, so from that part I took my neck measurement, which is 14 divided by 2. I had 7, so I made the mark around that place, and then I came down by 9 for my armhole depth. My armhole depth is 9, so from that point I made my chest line. So I roll over for my chest line and label it chest line. Okay, so I went ahead again to use my French curve to draft my armhole out. Okay, if you're good with freehand, you can use your freehand to do this. So what I did, I minus 1 inch from the shoulder as well for my shoulder slanting. So I slanted it, and then I marked my bust line. Okay, so my bust line is 10.5. so I rule a straight line across that part. Okay, and then for my under bust is 14. That's the under bust I'm working on. Okay, it's 14, so I rule a straight line as well for the under bust, 14, and then the length of the dress being 17, and then the seam that I added. Okay, so basically that's what I have here now. Okay, so I'm going to be using a white chalk. I won't be using the yellow chalk because of the fabric I'm using a white fabric. I don't want stain. You can relate with me if that's any other color of chalk is not going to work well for a white. It's going to leave the stain there, and I won't want that. So guys, I'm going to go ahead to mark 4 inches for my bust span. Okay, remember everything I'm marking here is on fold, so I'll go ahead to rule a straight line across it. Okay, so starting from my chest line down to the length of the dress, I rule straight line after I derived my bust span, which is 4 inches. So when I open it up, that's 8. Okay, so now on the shoulder part, I'm going to go ahead to mark the midpoint. Don't forget I've used 1 inch for my shoulder slanting, so I have all in all 8 inches for my armhole. So the mid part, which is around 4 inches, I'm going to connect my ruler from that part to my bust point line. Okay, so I'm just ruling straight to that point. Okay, so after I've done doing that, I'm going to go ahead to draft out the princess dart. So the dress is going to be having an armhole princess dart. Okay, so on this part I'm going to go ahead to measure 1 inches out of the main measurement. Okay, and on the other part I will go ahead to mark 1.5. so 1.5 and 1 inch from the bust span area, and 1.5 on the other side. So on the other bust line too, I'm going to mark the same thing there. So from that part, I'm then going to use my freehand to curve from my bust point line down to my under bust line where I marked on 1.5. so you can use your French curve to do that too. You can see it's giving me the same result. Okay, so if you're good with your freehand, go ahead. If it's with your French curve, you can use whatever is good for you to do that. So then from that part down, I will now rule a straight line. Okay, so on the other side, I'm going to go ahead to do the same thing. So from my bust point line, I'm just going to go ahead to straight it down, rule a straight line down, okay, to the length. So I'm marking out this part. So this part is going to be out. That's the part we're taking out. So on the shoulder part too, that's the armhole, sorry, I'm going to go ahead to mark an ½ inch on both sides. So ½ inch from the upper part and ½ inch on the down part. Then I'll use my French curve to rule a straight line like that, going to the stopping at the chest line. Okay, so that is stopping at the chest line area on both sides. So that's what I did there. Okay, so I'm trying to extend the line outer the armhole line. Okay, because by the time, if I'm cutting on straight, when the time I sew, I'm going to be having a short area less than about 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to roll that part out again. I'm going to just replace my armhole line on the other part. Okay, that's for that. And for my neckline, I mark 3.5 for the width, and for the depth I'm using around the 8. Okay, 8. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead to take out my measurement. Okay, so I'll just go ahead to mark on my measurement, the bust measurement, the under bust measurement, and the waist measurement. Okay, so the bust is around 38, under bust 31, while I have my waist to be 27, and I added around a 1.75 seam allowance to it all. So having divided it by 4, I added 1.5 seam allowance to it. So I'll go ahead to rule and then cut it out. Okay, so you have to be careful around this part. Just being careful to cut it out so that I'll not cut the important part and leave the unimportant part. Okay, so like this, I'll just go ahead to cut it out, and then for the half inch that I took out here, that's what I'm trying to shape out on that part. Okay, so on this other part, I'm just trying to shape out everything I've marked there. Okay, so I'm taking this out, and this is what I have. I'll go ahead to mark cut out my neckline as well, and then on the armhole area I added enough allowance there because I don't want to mess up with the measurement. So when I'm sewing, after I've gone ahead to join the bust area, I'll go ahead to reshape my armhole. Okay, and just maintain my 7 and make sure everything is in place. So guys, this is what I have after I've cut it. This is how it's looking. Okay, so I'll go ahead to reshape my armhole after I've joined it. Okay, so the material I'm using, or let's say the fabric I'm using, is a Mikado fabric. That's the name of the fabric. It's so thick. I won't be using an interface for it, that is an hairstay rather, but I'll go ahead to cut a normal lining for it, and then I'm going to add my breast pad to it. So I'm going to be cutting out a breast pad for it. I'll go ahead to iron it on it and then set it aside. Okay, so for the back, I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into 2 as well, and then repeating the same length, 17, and then my same allowance for the length, I've added it up, and then I'm rolling across the starting point line like so. Okay, after this, I'm going to go ahead to mark my back measurement, that is my shoulder, which is 7, and then I repeated just the same thing I did to the front, the armhole 9 minus 1, so I'm going to be having a total 8 inches. Okay, for my armhole. All right, so so the back is going to be having a loop, so that's why I didn't bother to add my zipper allowance to the back measurement. So I just went ahead to repeat the same measurement I had for my front. Okay, so having gotten my armhole, I'll go ahead to rule a line for my chest line, which is 9. Okay, that 9 is constant for me. Okay, so that's going to stand from my chest line, and then what I need next is just the length of the dress. I don't need other bust measurement for the back. Okay guys, so I'm marking on 2.2 inches at the upper part, okay, and then 1.5 at the down part. That's around the waist I marked 1.5, and around the chest line I marked 2 inches. Okay, so that is for my opening. Okay, so I actually want it that when I'm tying the loop, it's going to be clinching the waist. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting that out, and then I took my back dart. Okay, so it stops before the chest line. Okay, so I marked around 5 inches from the starting point, and then I took half inches out on both sides, that from the waist, and then I slant it towards the chest line like so, and I'm going to be cutting that part out. Then I'm going to go ahead to repeat my bust circumference measurement on it, my waist circumference, and then go ahead to roll it out. Okay, so I'm going to be rolling it out like so after I've added my seam allowance to both my bust and my waist. Okay guys, so for my back width I maintain 3.5. okay, and then I place my roller to slant in towards my chest line. Okay, so I'm just going to slant it like that. Don't forget I've already measured 2 inches away from the starting point around my chest line. Okay, and then 1.5 at the down part. So I just went ahead to slant it like so down. So I've gone ahead to cut it out and then to cut out my darts. So I have this now. So I'm changing the style for the back neckline. I'm going to be measuring 2 inches. Okay, 2 inches, and then I will go ahead to mark on 2 inches like so. All right, so I'm going to go ahead to chalk it out, as to give it a curve. Okay, a neckline curve out. Okay, and then from that part I'm going to mark 2 inches again. Okay, so and then I'm going to curve it towards the darts intake that I had, but I'm stopping on the chest line. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead to cut it out like that. Okay, so that's the kind of opening I want for my back. Okay, so I'm just trying to give it a design at that part, and a slant kind of design at that part, and then I'll go ahead to cut it out. Okay, so I'm cutting it out like so. So I'm just being careful so that I can have the kind of shape that I desire at that part. Okay, so this is how it's looking, and I'll go ahead to open this part up like so. So that's going to be the part where I'm going to be having either my button or my hook and eye. Okay, so then I'm going to cut out the neckline like so. Okay, so this is what I have. So easy. Okay guys, I'm just trying to trim it right. Okay, and this is what it's looking like. So when sewing, I'll go ahead to close the dart line like so, and then this is how I'm going to be having. I'm going to be having a shape like this at the back, and this is going to be for the lacing. Okay, for the highlight and then the lacing. Okay guys, so I'll go ahead to cut out the lining like so. All right, so my fabric unfold as well. Okay, and this is for the skirt part. Okay, so the length of the dress is 31. I'm going to be adding about 2.5 inches, so I'll be having in total 3.5 for the total length. Okay, so I'm just marking out the base, and then I'm taking my tape rule, so -17. So if the total dress is 31 -17, don't we've cut out 17 for the waist length. Okay, it's going to be having a joining at the waist length, and then I marked on 25 for my hip, so that's the area where I'm having the fullest part of my client hip. So 25, and then I'm going to go ahead to label it hip line, and this is the length, the full length, and then this is the waist. Okay, that's the waistline. So I'll go ahead to mark the circumference of the hip here, and then including my seam allowance, I'll go ahead to mark it. I'm adding 1.5 for the allowance, and then for the waist I've marked out my waist as well, and then I went ahead to connect the lines like so. Okay, so I connected the line, and then to the down part I just use my free hand to just straighten it down a bit. Okay, and then I'll go ahead to cut. Alright guys, if you've watched this video to this length and you're here to subscribe to my channel, what are you waiting for? Please do subscribe to my channel, like, comment and share. Thank you. Alright guys, so I'm still on the cutting and I'm done. Okay guys, so I'm going to go ahead to place the front on the back. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead to repeat the same thing, but this time around I gave this a zipper allowance. So he's having a zipper allowance around 1.5 inches to 2 inches thereabout. That was what I used, and then I'm going to go ahead to slit it out. Guys, I'm going to go ahead to cut out the lining same way, and we are done for the cutting. I'm going to be posting the sewing aspect. So thank you for watching. Stay prosperous and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Bye.